Hi viewers, my name is Yunusa Mohammed. I teach economics at Nigerian Tulip International Colleges. This day we are going to take the second part of Economics UTME 2019. The part consists of 20 questions, precisely question 21 to 40. Please do relax as we do this together. All right, question 21. The shape of the production possibility frontier is determined by A, law of returns to scale, law of diminishing return, factors of production, and D, technology. So the answer is factors of production. Now, the shape of PPC, which is production possibility curve or production possibility frontier, is concave to the point of origin. Why? Because the change is not constant. Then the reason for this is because the society is constrained to the production of just two variables or commodities at a point, and all resources are utilized into the production of those two commodities. Let's say you have coffee and cocoa. So where the society utilizes all its resources in the production of, let's say, coffee, zero cocoa will be produced, so you have the highest point of coffee. Then if the society decides to use all the resources to produce cocoa, so you have for cocoa this and coffee will be zero. So that means that for at any point, for you to produce more of cocoa, there's need for you to produce less of coffee. So for you to increase your cocoa from this point to this point, then there's need for you to decrease your production of coffee from this point to this point. So that is then the possibility. The reason for this is because of the factors of production, which the society can easily alternate to produce more of one and less of the other, which brings the principle or the concept of opportunity cost. So for you to produce more of one, you need to produce less of another. So that is a production possibility curve. Then let's quickly move on to the next question, which is question 22. As indifference curve shows equal level of satisfaction at all points, and isoquant shows equal level of output. So the right option is output. So here is the curve to illustrate that. So an isoquant simply means the combination of two factor inputs that will yield the same level of satisfaction. For consumer behavior, concept of consumer behavior, here you have what we call budget line. But in the case of production, it is called cost outree or ISO cost. So you can see at this point, let's call this A and let's call this point B. So at either of these points, the firm can produce goods using the same factor input that will yield the same level of output. So at this point now, if he uses 20 labor and 20 capital, it's going to yield the same level of output. Same at this point. When he if the firm uses a 10 level of labor and 40 output, it's still going to yield the same level of output. So that is isoquant. So isoquant is simply the combination of factor inputs, basically like you have your labor and capital, that will yield the same level of output. So move on to the next question, question 23. Which of the following is not a cause of unemployment? So we see the options: poor education, of course, this one can result to it. Then if you look at lack of skill, of course it can. Good government planning, then corruption also can also lead to unemployment. But when you have a good government planning, it can create more jobs and not lead to unemployment. So the right option is option C, good government planning. So the next question is 24. The demand for labor is A, derived demand, joint demand, complementary demand, and composite demand. So the correct answer is derived demand. For example, when you demand for the service of a doctor, you are not demanding for that individual, but the service it can render. So when a demand for a particular thing necessitates the demand for another, it's called derived demand. For example, you need the service of a doctor for your health and well-being, so then you need a doctor. Not for the doctor itself, but the service the doctor will render. So that is called derived demand. So the next question, the use of government income and expenditure instruments to regulate the economy is termed as A, monetary policy, B, fiscal policy, C, fiscal policy, and D, public finance. So the correct answer is fiscal policy. And one of the major instruments that can be used to generate income through fiscal policy is called taxation. So the correct answer is fiscal policy, the use of income and expenditure to regulate the economy. Monetary policy, that's when you talk about things like cash ratio, open market operation, moral suasion, and the likes. So public finance is an aspect of economics that deals with income and expenditure. So the correct answer is fiscal policy. That's option C. The next question, question 26. A form of tax that is midly progressive and regressive is proportional tax. So proportional tax is a tax system or rate of taxation in which the tax rate remains the same irrespective of the level of tax base. For example, income. So irrespective of level of income, the tax rate remains the same. For example, if the tax rate is 10%, it's going to be the same. If the income is 10,000, it's to be the same. If the income increases to 20,000, it's still the same 10%. So irrespective of the level of income, the tax rate remains the same. It is known as proportional tax. Then why is it midly progressive and regressive? If you simply switch these this way, so you're going to have something like this. So this will give us progressive tax. That means as the income level increases, the tax rate also increases. So the highest tax rate will be on the highest income, while the lowest will be on the lowest income. So as the income increases, the tax rate also increases. Then if you also twist it this way, you're going to have something like this, and that's what regressive tax. Regressive tax is where the tax rate increases as income decreases. So the lower the income, the higher the tax rate. So the correct answer is proportional tax, because at that rate, it is on flat rate. So the rate remains the same irrespective of the level of income. So the next question is 27. Industrialization is the process of A, concentrating a firm in a place. B, transforming as economy based on extractive to manufacturing. C, transferring a government industry to individual. D, transforming finished goods into semi-finished goods. So this one has to do with manufacturing. Finished goods to semi-finished goods. That's semi-finished goods to finished goods. That's manufacturing. Then transferring the government industry to individual. That's privatization. Then transforming an economy based on extractive to manufacturing. That's what we mean by industrialization. So the correct answer is B. Then the A, concentrating a firm. That one has to do with localization of industries. So the correct answer is option B. So the next question, 28. One of these is not a way by which government encourage industrialization. We just learned from the previous question what industrialization is all about, transforming an economy based on extractive, that is mining, farming, and the likes, to more of manufacturing. So in this case, which one will not encourage industrialization? Option A, protection of infant industries. Of course, this one will encourage industrialization when you protect infant industries. Then establishing of Nigerian enterprises promoting a decree. Of course, this one also promote or encourage industrialization. Then low productivity and inefficiency. Of course, these will not encourage industrialization. There is low productivity or there's no efficiency of utilization of resources. So the correct option is option C, as this option will, instead of encouraging, will discourage industrialization. So the next question, question 29. The sector which contributes highly to the economy is A, primary sector, B, secondary sector, C, tertiary sector, and D, education sector. Education sector, it contributes, but it's not the one that contributes the highest. Tertiary, the same thing. Secondary, the same thing. But primary production contributes more to the economy, because under primary, that's where you have your extraction of minerals, extractive industries. That's where you have farming. That's where you have mining. That's where you have a whole lot of them, and they contribute immensely. Farming alone, you have fishing, you have livestock. So many people are engaged in it, which help to boost the GDP of a country. So primary production is the correct answer. Then the next question, question 30. A permit that allows an importer to bring a certain quantity of foreign goods into a country is called A, import monopoly, B, import license, C, import quota, and D, embargo. Embargo is when you give an outright ban on the importation of a particular product or item. So that's not the correct answer. But the one that has to do with certain quantity, so that you not exceed that particular quantity, to put a check to protect the infant industries, is known as import quota. So the correct answer is option C. So next question, question 31. The lands that belong to the community is referred to as, of course, communal land. So the right option is option C. So next question, 32. Among the disadvantages of the one-man business is the fact that one-man business simply means sole trade, okay? A business that is owned and managed by just an individual. So let us look at this. All those are disadvantages. They are negative effect, has negative effect on one-man business. But which one has the most disadvantage to the firm? So the first option, its capital may not be increased without government permission. Then the next one, proprietor is personally liable for the firm's debt. C, the proprietor is not able to obtain credit. Then D, the proprietor may not sue for bad debt. Of course, even though the firm does not have the legal capacity to sue and to be sued, the proprietor can also sue for somebody who is owing the firm. So this option cannot go. Then the next thing is the proprietor is not able to obtain credit. Of course, they can obtain credit through friends, through aids and grants, through the other financial institutions like banks. So this one is also not correct. Then the next question, the next option, the proprietor is personally liable for the firm's debt. Yes, this is correct, because the firm is unlimited liability, has unlimited liability. So the liability of the firm is not limited to the capital of the firm, just as the companies and other corporate institutions benefit. So the correct answer is option B. Question 33. The most reliable and acceptable index of economic growth is option A, wholesale price index, consumer price index, national income, and retailers price index. So the correct option is national income. What is economic growth? Economic growth has to do with an increase in the production of goods and services in a given country. When the GDP of a country is increased, that is economic growth. Then when you look at these options, price index, this one is to check inflation, there are inflation indicators to check inflation rate of a given country. So when you talk about national income, this one has to do with the money value of the volume of goods and services produced in a country. So you can see this one correlates with economic growth because it has to do with the production of goods and services. And the next question is 34. The release of a liquid petroleum hydrocarbon into the environment is A, oil glut. That's not correct. Then B, oil spill. If you like, and call it oil spillage. Then we have oil shock and we have oil wastage. So the right option is oil spill. this has caused havoc to the environment. So when you discharge some of those hydrocarbon liquids into the environment, or into the let's say the river or any ecosystem, so it causes pollution, and it's a big problem, as many people are unemployed as a result of this. So the correct answer is oil spill. So the next question, question 35. ECOWAS was formed for the purpose of A, promoting cooperation and integration, B, to facilitate the expansion of international trade, C, to provide insurance, and D, to ensure new investment. So if we can recall, ECOWAS stands for Economic Community of West African States. So it's a regional economic integration. So what is the major aim of ECOWAS is to enhance or promote cooperation and integration among the member states. So the next question is question 36. Economics is a social science concerned with the proper use and A, production of goods and services. That's not correct. Then B, distribution of wealth. That's also not correct. C, allocation of resources for growth. That's correct. Then D, creation of utility. So economics is more concerned about efficient utilization of scarce resources. As we all know, that resources are limited, and in order to take advantage of that, since human wants are unlimited, is to ensure that the little or the limited resources are efficiently utilized by way of allocation as to what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. So efficiency, utilization of resources is very vital. Then the correct option is option C. Then we'll go to the next question, question 37. The determination of price by bargaining between the buyers and sellers is known as A, sales by auction, B, tender, C, higgling and haggling, and D, price control. The right option is higgling and haggling. What does this one entails? It entails that both the buyers and the sellers will be bargaining, will be negotiating. Then the highest price of the buyer, the highest he can pay, and the lowest price that the seller can also give out the goods for, then will be considered, and they will now come to terms by way of going to the middle. So that is what we mean by haggling and higgling and haggling. So when buyers and sellers negotiate and bargain over price until they reach to conclusion or price. Then the next question is question 38. An economic system that uses what is regarded as the market mechanism is called A, mixed economy, B, socialism, C, command economy, and D, capitalism. Mixed economy has to do with when resources are owned and managed partly by private individuals and the government. So that is not correct. Then the next one, socialism. This one is command economy, when resources are owned and managed by the public or the government on behalf of the public or by the state. So that is socialism. So that's not also correct. So at this point, they fix price, and unlike where you have a free market economy. So by command also is also not correct. That's also socialism. So the right option is capitalism. Capitalism is an economic system whereby resources are owned and managed by private individuals. So, and in this economy, it's also known as free market economy. So, prices are determined by the interaction of the forces of demand and supply. So, in that economy, you have your demand and you have your supply. So, at this point, which is the point of equilibrium, is here you have your equilibrium price and your equilibrium quantity. So that's where the price is determined. So the economy system that uses what is regarded as a market mechanism. And this market mechanism, which is determination of the forces of price by forces of demand and supply, is under the capitalism or capitalist economy. So the next question, question 39. The last link in the channel of distribution is A, producer, B, retailer, C, consumer, and D, wholesaler. There are four of them. You have the producer, which is the production center. Then you have the agents of distribution, the middleman, the wholesaler, and the retailer. And finally, you have the consumer. So the final link among the four stages of or chains of distribution is the consumer. So the correct answer is option C, consumer. Then lastly, question number 40. John, an apprentice, an engineer, and an amateur trumpet player, was earning just 30 per week before accepting full-time employment in a top orchestra, for which he now receives 150 per week. So if you see, if you deduct 30 that he used to receive per week from what is currently earning per week, which is 150, you are going to have 120 naira per week. So this 120 naira that is currently receiving, that difference of 120, what is it called? So A, marginal fiscal productivity, B, marginal income productivity, C, consumer surplus, then D, economic rent. So the right option is economic rent. You can see that usually he used to earn this. So if you look at orchestra, so is a group of musicians that uses various instruments to play. So because of this advantage that he has, an amateur trumpet player, and also has some other skills as an apprentice, so that has given him edge to earn an extra 120. So that surplus of 120 naira is known as economic rent. So at this point, we have come to the end of our lesson today. I hope you enjoy it, and we'll meet next time. Thank you for listening.